Welcome back to the deep dive.
It's good to be back.
So today we are opening up a file that is, well, frankly, it feels a bit heavy when you just look at the cover.
It does. It has a certain weight to it, doesn't it?
A lot of weight, yeah. It's ancient, it's dense, and it has a title that sounds like it belongs in a restricted section of a library. We're looking at Chapter 9 of the Bhagavad Gita.
And it is a profound text. I'd say probably one of the most pivotal chapters in the entire conversation.
And that title alone, it really grabs you. It's called The Royal Secret. Or, if we want to get technical with the Sanskrit right out of the gate, Vidya Raja Guhya Yoga.
The path of supreme knowledge and secrets.
Exactly. And I have to ask right off the bat, why royal? Why king of secrets? It makes it sound like we're about to decode some kind of spy novel or, I don't know, a lost Da Vinci Code manuscript.
It does have that allure, doesn't it? We love a good secret.
Of course.
We love the idea of being on the inside. But usually a secret is something that's withheld. It's a password, a classified document, something I know and you don't. It creates a kind of hierarchy.
Right, it's exclusive. If I know the secret and you don't, I have the power.
Exactly. But the secret here, the Rajaguhya, it's different. It's not hidden because someone locked it away in a safe to keep it from you.
Okay.
It's hidden because it's so obvious that we look right past it. It's like, searching for your glasses when they're sitting on your nose.
Right on your head the whole time. Yeah.
It requires a specific shift in perception to see it. It's open to everyone, but it's missed by many because they're looking in the wrong direction.
That's a really interesting way to frame it. So it's the open secret. It's hiding in plain sight. And looking at our sources, specifically this commentary on Chapter 9, it seems like this philosophy, it promises to fulfill desires, but not in the way we usually think.
How so?
It's not a transaction. It's not do X to get Y.
Yeah.
It's more of a fundamental shift in how we view reality itself.
Precisely. And to orient ourselves, we need to remember where we are in the text.
Good point.
This isn't a standalone pamphlet. This is a continuation. In Chapter 7 and 8, the Lord Krishna has been discussing his attributes. He's been laying the groundwork, describing the different energies, the material and the spiritual.
Setting the stage.
Exactly. Now, in Chapter 9, he's bringing it all together. He's moving from, let's say, the theoretical physics of the universe to the applied psychology of how you live in it.
I like that. And the source material mentions this concept. I'm going to try to say this right.
Go for it.
The Janmati Ashtaka.
You got it.
Which is a massive mouthful.
It is, but it's essential context. It's really the foundation for what's coming.
So break that down for us, and don't just give me the list. Give me the stakes. Why should I care about these Sanskrit terms?
Because these define the script of your life.
Okay.
Janmati means creation and the rest. And it refers to the 8 activities of the divine that, they dictate the parameters of our reality.
The 8 activities. Okay, let's walk through them. Because usually when people think of God or a divine force, they think of creation, maybe destruction.
Right, the big 2. But this list covers the entire life cycle of existence. It starts with creation, which is Shrishti.
Makes sense.
Then sustenance, or stithi, basically, keeping the show running.
Right, the maintenance.
Then dissolution, laya, packing it all up at the end of the day.
The standard cycle. Creation, maintenance, destruction.
Right. But then it gets personal. The next one is regulation, or niyamana.
What does that mean, regulation?
It means there are rules. Gravity works, karma works, the sun rises in the east. It's not a chaotic, random mess out there. It's a regulated system.
Okay, so there's a manager involved. There's some kind of cosmic HR department?
In a sense, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Then we have knowledge, jnana, and ignorance, ajnana.
Wait, pause there. Ignorance. The divine is responsible for ignorance. Usually we think ignorance is just our fault. I didn't study enough. You're telling me the source claims the divine actually does ignorance?
Yes. And this is a really crucial point. If the divine is the source of all reality, then the veil that covers reality must also be part of the design.
The veil.
We forget our true nature because that forgetfulness, that ignorance, it allows the drama of life to play out. If we all knew everything all the time, there would be no game.
There'd be no story.
No story. So yes, the capacity to be confused is also supported by the divine.
That is oddly comforting and terrifying at the same time?
It can be.
So my confusion isn't just a bug, it's a feature of the system.
In a way, yes. And that leads to the last 2. Bondage, bandha, and liberation. moksha.
Getting stuck in the game and getting free from the game.
Exactly. All 8 of these are under the jurisdiction of this one force.
So basically everything, from the start of the universe to why I'm confused about my taxes to how I get stuck in a rut to how I finally get free, it's a whole ecosystem.
Precisely. It covers the entire spectrum of existence. But here's the key tone of Chapter 9, and the source makes a big point of this. This isn't a rule book of do this, don't do that with a wagging finger. It's an assurance. Verse 2 actually describes this knowledge as susukam,
Which means...
joyful and easy to follow.
That's reassuring, because usually when people talk about supreme secrets in philosophy, easy is not the first word that comes to mind.
Not at all.
Usually it involves standing on one leg in a cave for 30 years or something.
Not here. This path is meant to feel natural. It's meant to be joyful.
But let's get into the core tension here, because if this divine force is doing all 8 of those things, creating, sustaining, regulating, even confusing me, the obvious question is, if the divine is everywhere, why don't I see it? And if I'm supported by this infinite power, why am I so stressed out all the time? Why does life feel so heavy if I'm supposedly being carried?
That is the central question, isn't it? It's the gap between the philosophical truth and our lived experience.
Right.
And that brings us to the first section of our deep dive, the paradox of presence.
This is verses 4 and 5, the unmanifest mystery.
Yes. The text introduces the concept of the avyakta, or the unmanifest form. And the Lord says something that sounds like a complete riddle.
What's that?
All beings are in me, but I am not in them.
Okay, stop there. Let's really unpack that. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. If he's everywhere, how is he not in them? That sounds completely contradictory.
It does if you think about it physically, like, salt dissolved in water.
Right. The salt is in the water, and the water is in the salt, in a way.
But think in terms of dependence. Think about a daydream.
Okay.
If you close your eyes and you imagine a castle, that castle exists entirely within you. It depends on your mind to exist.
Right. If I stop imagining it, it just, poof, it vanishes.
Exactly. So the castle is in you, but are you in the castle?
No, I'm sitting in a chair in the studio. I'm not trapped inside my own imagination.
Precisely. You support the daydream, but you aren't contained by it. You are the container, not the content.
Ah, I like that.
In the same way, the divine supports the universe. Everything exists within that consciousness. But the divine isn't trapped or limited or defined by the universe.
He's the container, not the contents. That helps. That helps a lot. But the source commentary goes even deeper into the theology here.
It does.
It points out a fascinating distinction between 2 terms used in these verses, mama atma and avyakta morthi.
Yes, this is where the expert analysis gets really granular and I think really interesting.
So mama atma means my soul.
Right, and avyaktamorthi means unmanifest form.
Okay.
Now, for us, for humans, my form, my physical body, and my soul or consciousness, they're different things.
Definitely.
My body is made of matter. It ages, it gets sick, it can break. My soul or my consciousness is the witness. It doesn't catch a cold in the same way. We are dual. We are sort of a ghost in a machine.
Right. I am not my leg. If I lose my leg in an accident, I'm still me.
Exactly. But the analysis in our source,
Yeah.
referencing Sri Jaya Tirtha, explains that for the divine, there is no difference.
None at all.
None. His form is his soul. There is no distinction between the physical and the spiritual in the divine. It's all one transcendental reality.
That's heavy. So when he says he's unmanifest, he's not saying he's a mist or a vapor.
No.
He's saying his form isn't made of the same clunky physical matter that we are.
Correct. It's beyond physics as we know it. And because it's not made of material nature, our material eyes can't see it.
Okay.
We are like people standing on the ground. If the ground is hot, our feet get hot. We are affected by what supports us.
We absorb the qualities.
Yes, but the divine supports us without being touched or affected by our nature.
The source uses a really specific analogy for this in verse 6 to help us visualize it. The majestic wind.
Yes, this is a classic image from the text. As the mighty wind blowing everywhere rests always in space.
Okay, let's play with that.
Yeah.
The wind is moving everywhere. It's powerful. It's in space. You can't have wind without space to blow through.
True.
But space isn't blown around by the wind. Space just sits there. It accommodates the wind but doesn't get pushed around by it.
That's one layer of it, the idea of unaffected support. But let's look at the contamination aspect the source brings up.
Contamination.
This is a really interesting philosophical nuance that addresses a common fear. If God is everywhere, is he in the bad stuff too?
Right.
And if he touches the bad stuff, does he get dirty?
Yeah. If the wind blows over a trash can, it smells bad.
Yeah.
If it blows over a rose garden, it smells sweet. So doesn't the wind get contaminated by what it touches? If I smell garbage wind, I say, the wind smells like garbage.
We do say that.
Yeah.
But the source, quoting Sri Rayaru, argues, no.
No.
The wind carries particles of fragrance, either the rose particles or the garbage particles, but the wind itself does not become the fragrance.
Wait, distinguish that for me. That sounds a little too fine a point.
It's subtle, but it's crucial. The wind acts as a carrier. It picks up the particles, moves them across town, and then drops them somewhere else. But if you were to isolate the air molecules of the wind itself, they remain neutral. The wind remains independent. Once it travels far enough and drops those particles, it's just wind again. It never actually became the smell.
I see. It's a transport mechanism, not a chemical reaction.
Exactly. And in the same way, the divine supports the universe, supports all the drama, the good, the bad, the chaos, the wars, the peace, but remains completely untouched by it.
So he's carrying it all.
He carries it, but he isn't contaminated by it. He supports the trash of the world just as impartially as he supports the roses, but his own nature remains pure.
That is a crucial distinction. It's the difference between a sponge soaking up dirty water and, say, a conveyor belt moving a box of mud.
Perfect analogy.
The belt moves the box, but the belt doesn't become the box.
Exactly. And this leads us directly into how this divine force handles the massive job of running the universe. Because if he's not involved in the drama, how does he manage it all?
Right.
This is section 2 of our discussion, the art of detached action.
Right. Because if I were running the universe, detached is the last word I would use to describe myself.
I think that's true for most of us.
I'd be a nervous wreck. I'd be micromanaging every single asteroid. But the text describes this cycle of creation, shrishti, and dissolution, laya, happening over and over again on a massive cosmic scale.
It is a cosmic rhythm. Verses 7 through 10 describe this. At the end of a grand cycle, everything dissolves back into nature, or prakriti. It goes dormant.
Hibernation.
And then, when the cycle restarts, the Lord Visrujami, he recreates them.
And the source notes a specific word choice there. Not just Srujami, but Visrujami. What's the difference? Why the prefix?
Good question. Frujami is normal creation, like a potter making a pot from clay. Visrujami implies a special, specific kind of creation. The source clarifies that souls are eternal. You don't create a soul from scratch. It already exists.
Okay.
So this creation is actually the act of giving physical bodies to these eternal souls based on their past nature and karma.
Ah, okay. So he's not making new players. He's handing out the uniforms for the next season of the game.
Based on how you played in the last season, it's assigning the vehicles for this round of the game.
But here's the kicker. Verse 9 says, he does all this work, creating billions of beings, managing galaxies, assigning karmic bodies, while being Udasina, which translates to indifferent.
Yes, Udasina.
Now, hold on. Indifferent. That sounds cold. I have to be honest, that doesn't sit right with me.
I understand that reaction.
If I'm going through a crisis, I don't want an indifferent God. Indifferent sounds like an absentee landlord who collects the rent but doesn't fix the leak. It sounds negligent. Why would a loving creator be described that way?
That is a valid emotional reaction, but we have to be really careful with the translation. In English, indifference implies, I don't care.
Yeah, a lack of empathy.
Exactly. But in the Sanskrit context, Sri Madhvacharya's view explains that Udasina here means effortless and unattached.
Effortless.
Think about it. Imagine a master surgeon performing a life-saving operation. Do you want a surgeon who is weeping and shaking over your body because they care so much? Do you want them emotionally devastated by every incision they make?
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I want them steady. I want them focused.
You want them indifferent to the blood so they can focus on the cure? You want precision. If you lift a heavy weight, you strain. You're attached to the effort. If you lift a feather, you are indifferent to the weight. It requires nothing from you.
Okay, I see.
The Lord has nothing to gain from creating the universe. He's already perfect. He does it purely for the benefit of the souls. So he acts without the friction of, I need this to work out for me.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's not, I don't care about you. It's, I don't need anything from you.
Exactly. It connects to that modern idea of flow or, leadership without micromanaging. The text calls him the adhyaksha.
Which means?
The supervisor, the witness.
He's the witness.
Yes. He oversees nature doing the work. He's not down in the weeds stressing about every detail, yet everything happens under his watch. It's the ultimate form of delegation, but to a force nature that is entirely under his control.
So he's the CEO who sets the vision and the culture, creates the environment for success, but doesn't hover over your desk shouting about your timesheets.
That's a fair analogy, but, and here's the tragedy mentioned in verse 11, humans misunderstand this.
Wow.
Because he doesn't show up with thunder and lightning all the time, because he can appear simple, we miss the point.
Verse 11 says, people disregard me in the human form.
Yes, avajananti mamuda, fools deride me, because he appears so simply. When Krishna was on earth, he looked like a human. He had 2 arms, 2 legs, he ate dinner.
He was relatable.
Too relatable for
Right.
some, so people judged him by his appearance. They missed the supreme reality that was hiding in plain sight.
And the source gives us a very specific, very dramatic example of this, the story of Shishupala. This is a story that, frankly, sounds scandalous when you first hear it.
It is a classic case study in judgment and redemption, a really challenging one.
So for the listeners who haven't dusted off their Mahabharata lately, paint a picture for us. Who is this guy?
Shishupala is the cousin of Krishna, but he is also his sworn mortal enemy.
Okay.
And we aren't talking about a mild dislike or a family feud over property. We are talking about visceral, burning hatred.
This is deep.
Very deep. There is a famous scene where Shishupala stands up in a royal assembly, a massive gathering of kings, and insults Krishna 100 times.
100 times. He kept a tally.
He's keeping count, and he is relentless. He calls him a cowherd, a thief, a low-class manipulator. He empties the dictionary of insults. He is publicly trolling the divine on a grand scale.
And what does Krishna do?
He stays calm. He had promised Shishupala's mother he would forgive 100 insults. So he just sits there and counts them. 98, 99, 100.
Yeah.
And then finally, Krishna releases his discus, the Sudarshana chakra, and beheads Shishupala right there in the assembly.
Game over. Or so you'd think.
Right. But then the text says, a light left Shishupala's body, his soul, and it moved across the room and merged into the Lord. He attained moksha. He got liberation.
Now, wait a minute. This is where the average person goes, hold on a second. If I can insult God, scream at him, hate him with every fiber of my being, and still get into heaven, why am I bothering with all this being good stuff?
It's a fair question.
It seems broken. It seems like the system is rigged.
It does if you only look at the surface. And usually you hear people say, oh, that's because he was thinking about God so intensely, even in hatred, that it counted as a form of meditation.
Right, the hate-watching theory of salvation.
Which is a common interpretation. But our source material corrects this view. It offers a much more nuanced and I think satisfying theological explanation that actually preserves the rules of karma.
I'm listening. Go on.
The source, referencing the Bhagavata Mahapurana and Madhvacharya's notes, explains that Shishupala actually had 2 souls residing in that one body.
2 souls. Like a possession.
Something like that. One soul was Jaya. Now, Jaya is actually a divine gatekeeper of the Lord's abode Vaikuntha.
So a good guy.
A very good guy. But Jaya was under a curse to be born on earth as an enemy for 3 lifetimes. So deep down, this was a devotee serving a sentence. But the other soul in the body was a demon.
Talk about a crowded house. That's a complicated roommate situation.
Indeed. So the hatred, the abuses, the vitriol, that was the demoniac nature coming through. But deep down, the Jaya soul was a devotee waiting for release.
So when Krishna acted,
when Krishna killed Shishupala, the demon soul was sent to hell. But Jaya, the devotee soul, was liberated and returned to his post.
wow, okay, that changes everything. So it wasn't the hatred that saved him.
Not at all.
It was the underlying identity that was hidden beneath all the drama.
Exactly. And this circles back perfectly to the main point. You cannot judge by the surface. People saw Shishupala the tyrant. Krishna saw the complex spiritual situation underneath.
Right.
People saw Krishna the human. Shishupala, the demon part of him, saw an enemy. But the royal secret is seeing the reality behind the form. It's surgical. The divine extracts the good soul and discards the bad influence.
That is a wild story. That really changes how you look at the idea of redemption. It suggests that the divine knows exactly who we are, even if we are covered in layers of demonic behavior or, just confusion.
And that leads us to the different ways people try to connect with this divine force, because not everyone is an enemy like Shishupala. Most people aren't hating God. They are just using God.
Using God. That's a provocative way to put it. This brings us to section 3, the transactional trap versus the infinite loop.
The text calls these people the Trividya,
which means?
Those who know the three Vedas, but only superficially.
Okay, so these are verses 20 and 21. These are the people who follow the rituals, they say the chants, they do the work. But what's their goal?
Their goal is heaven. They want to go to Indra's world.
And what's that like?
The source describes this explicitly. They crave heavenly riches, wine, divine pleasures. They aren't seeking truth. They are seeking a better lifestyle, an upgrade.
So what's the problem with that? If you do the work, you do the charity, you do the rituals, don't you deserve the vacation?
The problem isn't that they don't get it. They do. They absolutely get the vacation. The problem is the credit system.
The punya.
Yes, punya or merit. This is a crucial economic concept in spirituality. Think of it exactly like saving up for a luxury vacation. You work hard at your job. Those are your rituals, your good deeds on earth. You save up a massive pile of cash.
My spiritual bank account.
Exactly. And then I book the trip to the Maldives, or in this case, Indra's heaven.
Sounds good so far.
You go to the resort. It's beautiful. You're drinking the Amrita, the nectar. You're relaxing. But here is the catch. Can you work at your job while you are sitting on the beach in the Maldives?
No, I'm on PTO. I'm not earning a paycheck. I'm spending.
Precisely. You aren't generating new merit in heaven. You are only consuming what you earned on earth. So every cocktail you order, every night you stay in the celestial hotel, your bank account is going down. You are burning through your savings.
And eventually, the card gets declined.
Checkout time. And the bouncer time kicks you out. Verse 21 says, Krishna punya marchalokam vishanti.
Meaning?
When the merit is exhausted, they enter the mortal world again.
That sounds exhausting and honestly a little depressing. It's the ultimate rat race, just on a cosmic scale.
It is.
You work to vacation, you vacation until you're broke, and you have to come back to work.
It is garagata, the cycle of going and coming. It's an endless loop. It's a transaction. I give you a ritual, you give me pleasure. But verse 22 offers the alternative.
The other way.
The subscription model, if you will.
Okay, I like that. This is the Ananya devotee.
Ananya means exclusive or no other. These are people who aren't trying to buy anything. They aren't asking for the Maldives. They're just devoted to the relationship itself.
And for them?
For them, the Lord makes a staggering promise. Yoga kshama.
I carry their burden.
I take responsibility to grant their wishes and safeguard what they have. Let's break down those two words, yoga and shema, as the expert commentary defines them, because this is the insurance policy of the soul.
Please do.
Yoga, in this specific context, means getting what you don't have. Specifically, the ultimate prize. Liberation.
Moksha.
The thing you can't earn just by being a good boy or girl. You can't buy moksha with merit. It has to be given. It's a gift.
Angshishing.
Prishima means keeping what you have, protecting that state of bliss so you don't lose it.
So unlike the tourist in heaven who is anxiously watching their bank account drain every day, the Ananya devotee is on a plan where the divine bank pays the bills.
Essentially, the ritualist manages their own account, and it's a depleting asset. The devotee lets the divine carry the ledger. The ritualist eventually returns to earth. The devotee goes to a state from which there is no return to misery. It is permanent.
That is a huge shift, a massive shift in mindset. It's moving from I am the doer, I am the earner, to I am the lover, and I am taken care of.
It's surrendering the need to control the outcome.
And this naturally leads to the question of cost. If the transactional model is expensive, all those elaborate Vedic sacrifices, the time, the priests, the money,
Right.
what is the cost of this exclusive devotion? Can regular people afford it?
Well, this brings us to section 4, the economics of devotion. And looking at verse 26, the price point has dropped significantly.
It's almost suspiciously cheap.
It does seem that way. This is the lowest barrier to entry imaginable in any system.
The verse says, "Whosoever offers to me with devotion, a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, that I accept."
Patram, pushpam, phalam, toyam.
It's radically simple. I mean, compare this to the Vedic fire sacrifices where you need gallons of ghee, specific kinds of wood, priests who know the exact intonation of every chant.
A huge production.
And here, Krishna says, just bring me a leaf. It seems too easy.
It democratizes spirituality. It takes it out of the hands of the wealthy or the scholarly and puts it in the hands of anyone with a heart. It says you don't need resources, you just need access to nature. A single leaf.
But, and this is a big but, I feel like there has to be a catch. It can't be that easy. Here's a leaf. Give me enlightenment.
There's always a catch.
Our source provides a symbolic deep dive from Sri Vijamanya Tirtha. It suggests that while the physical objects are fine, they represent something much deeper and, well, much harder to give.
Correct. The physical act is the training wheels. The real offering is internal.
So give me the decoder ring. What is the leaf, really?
The leaf, Patram, represents the Vedas themselves. The Vedas are often compared to the tree of life.
Okay.
So offering a leaf means offering your understanding, your intellect. It means saying, my knowledge is yours, I don't own the truth.
Wow. Okay. That's already harder than plucking a basil leaf from the garden. What about the flower?
The flower, Pushpama, represents virtue, specifically ahimsa, nonviolence, and sense control. The source mentions 8 flowers dear to the Lord, including compassion, forgiveness, and truth.
See, that's the trick. I thought this was the easy path.
Yeah.
Just bring a flower. But you're saying, no, bring me your forgiveness. Bring me your control over your temper. That is exponentially harder than buying a bouquet at the grocery store.
It is harder, but it is also free. It costs you your ego, not your money. That is the trade-off.
A very big trade-off.
Yeah.
And the fruit, phalam.
The fruit represents action, but specifically action performed without expectation of reward. You offer the fruit of your labor, meaning you give up the claim to the result.
So you do the work.
And you sign over the paycheck of karma to the divine. You don't hoard it.
And the water, toyam.
Tears.
Beer.
Tears of joy or devotion. The raw emotion of connection. Water is formless. It takes the shape of the vessel. Similarly, your emotion flows toward the divine, pure and unshaped by ego.
That's beautiful. So sure, you can physically offer water, but the real offering is the vulnerability behind it.
Exactly. It confirms that the currency here isn't material value, it's internal quality. It's the relationship economy versus the market economy.
And this ties into verses 16 through 19, where the Lord basically says, stop looking for the perfect external tool.
Right. He says, I am the fire. I am the ghee. I am the mantra. I am the father, the mother, the grandfather.
It's one-stop shop.
It is. The source and the method are the same. You don't need to go to a specialized store to find God. You don't need a specific priest or a specific temple. He is the process of worship itself. When you realize that, the anxiety of doing it right just fades away.
Which brings us to a very sensitive and powerful part of this chapter. We've talked about the tourists and the devotees. We've talked about the virtuous people offering symbolic flowers. But what about the people who have messed up? The sinners, the people who feel disqualified from the start.
Section 5. Radical inclusivity and redemption. This is where the royal secret really shines as a message of hope.
Verse 29 starts with a statement that sounds almost like an HR policy. I have no friends or enemies. I am equal to all.
Right. Very impartial.
But then in the very next breath, he says, but those who worship me are in me, and I am in them. So is he equal, or does he play favorites? That sounds like a contradiction. I love everyone equally, but I love my friends more.
It's not favoritism, it's reciprocity.
Explain that?
Think of the sun. The sun is equal to everyone. It shines on the palace, and it shines on the prison, it shines on the saint, and it shines on the thief. The sun doesn't decide, you know what, I like this guy, I'll shine on him more.
Right, it just shines. It's just there.
But if you close your blinds and sit in the dark, you don't get the light. If you walk outside, you get warm. The sun didn't change, your position changed. The divine is always available, but we have to open the blinds through devotion.
That makes a lot of sense. You get what you put in. But then we hit verse 30, the bold statement. This one stopped me in my tracks when I was reading it.
It's one of the most famous verses. Even if a person of very bad conduct worships me,
he is to be considered saintly. And the word used is sudurachara, someone with very bad behavior, not just a little naughty. We're talking about someone with a rap sheet.
And the result is they are called sadhu, saintly, righteously resolved.
How does that work? You can be a terrible person, but if you pray, you're a saint. That feels like a loophole. That feels like a cosmic get-out-of-jail-free card.
It's not a loophole. It's about the power of resolution and direction. The verse says, he is resolved rightly. The source emphasizes the psychological angle here. It's not about your past resume.
Okay.
It's about your current vector.
Vector, I like that. Speed and direction.
Exactly. Imagine 2 cars on a highway. One is a brand new Ferrari, beautiful, perfect condition, but it's driving 100 miles an hour toward a cliff. That's the virtuous person with the wrong goal.
Okay, I can see that.
The other is a beat-up old clunker. It's barely moving. It's been in a lot of accidents. It's dented. It's rusty. But it has just made a U-turn and is now facing home.
The Ferrari is doomed. The clunker is safe.
Precisely. Even if the clunker hasn't moved an inch yet, the orientation is changed. The act of turning, the decision, is what changes your status from sinner to saint. The The divine judges the direction, not just the distance you've already traveled.
So it's the intent that reclassifies you. That is incredibly hopeful. It means you are never too far gone to turn around.
Yes. And the source clarifies something interesting here about why good people might do bad things. It mentions that even pious souls or deities can fall due to curses or a reduction of merit, like the Jaya Shishupala story.
Right.
Sometimes bad conduct is a temporary glitch in a good system. The Lord sees the good system underneath the glitch. Verse 31 promises, "My devotee never perishes." Even if they stumble, their fundamental nature will bring them back. It's a safety net.
And then the text goes even further in breaking down barriers. Verse 32, it explicitly mentions women, Vaishyas, merchants, and Sudras, laborers.
Now we have to pause here. Modern ears might bristle at this list because it groups women and workers alongside sinful births. We have to address the context.
Please do, because it sounds offensive if you just read it quickly.
The source acknowledges that in the historical context of the times, we're talking thousands of years ago, these groups were considered to have disadvantageous environments for spiritual pursuit.
In what way?
They weren't usually allowed to study the Vedas formally. They didn't have the time or social permission to perform the big, expensive fire sacrifices.
They were socially marginalized. They were the have-nots of the spiritual world at that time.
Correct. But the text isn't endorsing that hierarchy. It is explicitly overriding it. Krishna is saying, it doesn't matter if society says you are disadvantaged. It doesn't matter if the rule book says you can't study the Vedas.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you are poor or what gender you are. If you take shelter in me, you attain the supreme goal.
That's powerful. It's basically bypassing the gatekeepers of the time.
It is. It's the open source movement of spirituality. The royal secret isn't behind a paywall of gender or class or caste. It is accessible to anyone who has that ananya, that exclusive focus.
So let's recap. We've established that the divine is everywhere, but detached. We've established that we shouldn't treat this as a transaction to avoid the vacation trap.
Right.
We've established that it's open to everyone, even if you've made mistakes or society shuts you out.
Right.
Now, the big question, how do we actually live this? What is the life hack? Because I can't spend my whole day sitting in a temple. I have emails to answer. I have laundry to fold.
This brings us to the final part, section 6, the ultimate life hack, living in offering.
Verse 27. I feel like this is the verse you tattoo on your arm. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you sacrifice, whatever you give, whatever you suffer, offer it to me.
It covers everything. Yat karoshi, what you do. Yat asanasi, what you eat. Yat tapasasi, even your suffering.
Wait, my suffering. I can offer my suffering.
Yes. And that is a profound psychological tool. Usually when we suffer, we get sick, we lose a job, we get heartbroken, we ask, why me? We feel isolated. We feel like victims.
It feels useless. It feels like wasted pain.
But if you say, I offer this difficulty to the divine, let this burn away my ego, let this be a sacrifice, I am going through this for you, suddenly the suffering has purpose. It isn't just pain anymore. It's a ritual. It transforms the lead of suffering into the gold of devotion.
That completely flips the script on the daily grind.
It does. Think about the practical application for your work. If your work is an offering, do you stress about the result?
Well, if I'm giving it away as a gift, then no, not as much anyway.
Exactly. If you buy a gift for a friend, once you hand it to them, you don't worry about it anymore. You gave it. If your work is a gift to the divine, the ego of I am the doer disappears.
Then if I didn't do it, I don't have to carry the stress of it.
Exactly. And if your food is an offering, eating isn't just consumption, it's communion. Every mundane act becomes sacred. You don't have to go to a temple to be spiritual. Doing the dishes can be a prayer if the intent is, I am doing this service for the divine.
It turns the whole world into a temple. It erases the line between secular and sacred.
That is the royal secret. The secret is that the temple isn't a building. It's a mindset. You carry the temple with you.
And the final promise in verse 34 wraps this all up so perfectly. Focus your mind on me, be devoted to me, bow down to me.
Yeah.
Having thus united yourself with me, you will come to me.
It's a total integration, mind, heart, and body, and the result is presented as inevitable.
It really is a journey from fear to freedom. We started with this idea of a secret, and it turns out the secret is, well, it's love, isn't it, at the end of the day?
It is. It's the shift from a transaction doing X to get Y to a relationship, doing X as an expression of love.
The source material really emphasizes that, the difference between the tourist who pays for a stay and the family member who lives in the house. The tourist worries about the bill. The family member knows the fridge is always open.
And the divine isn't a distant judge waiting to catch you slipping up. He's the surit, the true friend, mentioned in verse 18. He's the very fabric of existence, just waiting to be acknowledged.
That is a beautiful place to land. So, here is a provocative final thought for you to chew on as you go about your day.
Let's hear it.
The text says the Lord accepts a leaf or water if offered with love. It says the intent matters more than the magnitude. So my question for you is this. What small, totally mundane thing are you doing today? Maybe it's answering an email, maybe it's folding laundry, maybe it's just drinking a glass of water that could be transformed into a secret offering just by flipping that switch in your mind. What happens if you stop doing it and start offering it?
That is the experiment. Try it and see what happens.
Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll see you next time.
Namaste.